Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to do more of a practical video where we talk about some different drills and exercises you can use to help you with social anxiety. And that's something that I struggled with for a long time, and these drills and activities really helped me to overcome my fear of talking to people before I'd go to a party, before I'd go to a social event, a networking event, something like this. And we're going to talk about those drills and exercises in a second, but first is really the mindset that you need. A lot of people think they need to be confident when they go and they do something socially, but the truth is you don't need to be confident. What you need to be is talkative. You need to be in a talkative state. That's the most important thing that you need to keep in mind before you go out, okay? Because a lot of your problems will go away if you just start talking more and engaging more in the conversation. So that's the first mindset thing that I want to emphasize before I get into the drills and exercises. The second thing that's super important to keep in mind is that when you're out talking, and just the art of conversation in general, an important part of conversation is the ability to free associate, right? When we get into the specific drills, you're going to notice that a lot of them play on this idea of helping you better free associate between different ideas. And that's super important because a conversation is not a linear progression. It's more like somebody's talking about something and then that reminds you of something. And then you start talking about that thing and that thing reminds the other person of another thing. So it's this game, it's this conversational game that you're playing of this reminds me of that, and what you just said about that reminds me of that, and that is a lot more based in free association than it is some type of logical or linear progression. That's why it's really hard to be fully engaged in a conversation if you're too much in your head, right? There needs to be a part of you that's free associating and thinking about ideas and thoughts that you want to add to the conversation. So a lot of the drills and exercises that we're going to talk about emphasize that skill. Now, the first one is freestyle rapping. This is super helpful. You can just find a beat on YouTube, find an instrumental, 5 minutes minimum if you're just starting off. And once you start to get better at freestyle rapping, you can increase it to 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes before you go out. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind for those of you who've never even tried to do this. One is that it doesn't have to rhyme. Like when you're just starting off, you don't have to rhyme. You can just talk on the beat and find your rhythm and the way that you're saying the things. And then over time, you'll find that it rhymes with the line, need a lime, something like this, right? So initially, don't put so much pressure on yourself to find the rhyme. Just try to talk on the beat and get into this, like I said, more talkative flow, okay? And if you're really struggling to come up with words, you can just use a random word generator and then take that word and try to find a word that rhymes with it as you're speaking on the beat, trying to make sentences using those words. So that's the first thing you can do, freestyle rap. I would recommend, if you're trying to get better socially, you should do it every single day, but especially before you go out, then you can extend the time 15, 20, 25 minutes, however long. I used to do 20-minute sessions before I would go out, and it would really help put me into a social flow and a flow of being able to associate random ideas. So that's the first one. The second one is the talk forever drill, which I've talked about to a lot of people in previous videos, which is you say a sentence and then you use a word, idea, or concept from that sentence to then form and go to another idea or sentence. So for example, right now I'm in my living room. And when I think about rooms, I actually think about apartments, and I just moved in to this apartment. And when I think about moving, I think about travel because I love to travel and go to different places. I was recently in Thailand, for example. So I went from, trying to go back real quick, I went from Thailand. Before that, I was talking about travel. Before that, moving apartments to rooms. So I just kept on going and associating based on different words that I'd said in the sentence. You want to do that once again for a minimum of 5 minutes. Once you get comfortable doing it for 5 minutes, increase it to 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, then 20 minutes. I'd say if you can freestyle rap for 20 minutes and do the talk forever drill for 15-20 minutes, you're gonna be in a really good social flow before you go out. Your level of social anxiety and anxiousness will decrease significantly. The last one that I want to share with you guys is something that we call the golden phone call, which is essentially you call your best friend or someone that you haven't talked to in a while that you want to catch up with right before you go out. 15-20 minutes, get into a conversation, and that way you're practicing the art of conversation before you even get to the venue, which is super powerful. And it's somebody that you already feel comfortable with, which means that you are more willing to express yourself and talk about different things that are happening versus just talking to a stranger, for example, or someone you don't know that well. So that can also be super powerful before you go out. Hopefully this video helps some of you guys. Practice these drills every day because consistency is really important when it comes to this building momentum and getting into social flow. And notice how the quality of your interactions are much better as a result of doing these exercises and drills before you go out versus maybe you don't do these drills and exercises and then you go out and you're super in your head and you don't know what to say. So yeah, try it out and get back to me and let me know how it is. If you guys have any questions about social anxiety, which like I said is something I struggled with for a long time, anything related to approaching, talking to strangers, anything like that, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to help. And with that being said, I hope you have a blessed week, weekday, weekend, wherever you are. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.